What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Sean Dimension, and today I'm just gonna go over a basic lightning Quetzalcoatlus deck, and we are gonna get into that. I'm gonna go into this deck list. It's only 40 cards, and this is pre-Nightfall. I decided just to do this for people that are like getting into it. It's very easy to order singles for the most part, so you don't have to break a lot of product to try to get these cards. And for the most part, this deck's pretty affordable, especially for how powerful it is, and I still think moving forward, even without any changes, this is a really big contender with the other decks that are popping up right now with the new Nightfall builds. So before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe if you like the content I got going on. I truly appreciate it, and let's get into the deck profile. So right here we have kind of one of the stars of the show, the most nuisance to a lot of people. So this card, Dingbell, for every aura that you contract or fatigue for it, sorry, it gains that much health and attack, and then whenever it attacks, it forms that many tokens. So if you fatigue 5 auras to bring out Dingbell and it ends up attacking, you can generate 5 more tokens with 10 life points, or 10 attack and 20 life points each. So it just kind of like continues this whole snowball effect of bringing out a million tokens. That actually gives me personally a ton of anxiety because I have all these dice next to me and I'm like, all right, so yeah, it's pretty scary. You can do some big stuff with Dingbell, especially turn 2, turn 3. You can drop a 6 aura on it depending on how you open up with your artifacts. You can do a lot of insane stuff, and this deck is really good at putting your opponent in a corner, especially with the paralyzed cards and all that stuff, but we'll get into that. Dingbell's nuts. It's an absolute nuisance. So I play 5 Dingbells in the deck. You can play 8, but I feel like 5 is plenty, and you're gonna see this card no matter what. And even if you open this up turn 1, you do not want to do a 1 or a 2 or a Dingbell. It just kind of doesn't make sense. Even if you have lightning in a bottle in your hand, save it. Don't put anything down on turn 2. Maybe you can drop a 4 or a 5 aura down. That is when Dingbell does its best, and later in the game it just becomes a total pain. People are dropping 9, 10 auras on this card, and it just becomes absolutely insane. And the amount of tokens it can generate is just gross. So we have Dingbell right here. Like I said, I play 5 of these, and then I would argue that this is the main star of the show. Is you have 4 Quetz or Quetzalcoatlus. Let's see if I can actually pronounce this. Quetzalcoatlus. I don't know, something like that. But then you have Quetz right here. So this card, for how busted this card is, I think it's only like, I could be wrong, but like $8 or $9 each. And compared to other card games, you know, when you're building like a whole deck, that's pretty cheap, honestly. So Quetz has flight, it has fleet, it has first strike, and it can paralyze whenever it attacks. So if you want to feel lucky, or if you're running luck potion and you're trying to like attack into something, you can paralyze it so it can't attack you back, especially if it's going to become a nuisance on the following turn. So there's just like an infinite amount of things you can do with Quetz. This card is absolutely busted, and it's pretty much mandatory. I don't even want to say pretty much, it's definitely mandatory in the lightning deck at the moment, even moving forward for sure. And next we have 2 Metalmen right here. So this raises questions for how amazing this card is. There is a counter, especially if somebody has a radio, or like when we went to the tournament in Houston, you were able to write down the 4th wall effects, so you didn't physically have to have a radio on you. I don't know if that's going to change in the future for premier tournaments. I'm not really sure. But if you wrote down radio, you wouldn't be able to do its main effect, which is pretty busted, because if you have tinfoil, you can drop this for 2 instead of 3, and then it comes out, you know, with first strike and fleet and all that good stuff. But if they have a radio, takes fleet away, and then you have to pay the 3 aura cost, so it comes out fatigued and not ready to go. But this card is absolutely insane. I love it. Definitely a mandatory in this build, but moving forward, there's cards like Thunderbird, and yeah, that's kind of like raising questions, which one's like better than the other. I don't really know, because I haven't really tested. I said in the past video that I've been pretty obsessed with the dark deck, so admittingly I haven't really paid attention to the lightning deck as much as I should. But that's pretty much like the main beasties that you're going to be running this deck. This deck goes really fast. If you go first and your opponent doesn't open up well, it is not looking good for them. I know it's a long game, but once you start building up all those tokens and everything, it's really hard for them to come back from that. So really underrated. I think I saw a lot of people not playing this in their lightning deck, and I just didn't understand why. This card's insane. You can play it on your opponent's turn. Okay, so if they're trying to attack, or if they're trying to do some sort of crazy effect or something like that, you can hit them with a paralyze, and then until the end of their next turn, it's not doing anything. So this really helps against cards that have like spirit, or like all these kind of things that doesn't let you attack into them, or you know, target them with things. Paralyze kind of stops that. It equalizes the playing field a little bit, and it just makes this deck a little bit more unfair, which is crazy. Even when I was testing with my dark deck, I went up against a lightning deck, and they were just paralyzing me the whole game. It was a really close game, but that was definitely the difference between the two decks. Is all of my invisible vampires, all of my beasties that had flight, didn't matter when it came to paralyze, so it just really shut all that down. And this is a nice little addition right here. So you can't play it on your opponent's turn, but lightning bolt paralyzes, and it also deals 25 damage. So for beasties that are kind of like a little bit bigger and harder to get over, this card is really great. And it pretty much does the same thing without you being able to play it on your opponent's turn, but this card's definitely really great. Lightning in a bottle is so good. So what lightning in a bottle does, you play it for 0 cost. You can play it in any deck. Okay, so it's a 0 aura cost, play it in any deck, and it basically just awakens your target beastie, and it gains first strike until the end of the turn. It's insane. So you can play 5 of these. I've tried 4, but I like 3 because you know, this game is a little bit slower. It reminds me of GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit, and it reminds me of like the Pokemon playability as well, where you don't want to like over invest too early most of the times. So I think 3 is plenty. You don't it's hard to say, I don't know, but for me personally, I like 3. And I have the one Cryptid Nation promo. Moving forward, I'll probably take this out, because you are only, so you basically pay 2 of any color aura to bring this out, and from your hand it lets you contract a card from Cryptid Nation for free basically. And I asked the other day if I could do it from Nightfall, because you know, Cryptid Nation is the base set for the whole year, but I think it's specifically for the base set only to play this card. So moving forward, I'll probably take this out, but I mean, you still play Quetz and all these other cards in your deck. But yeah, this card's really good. Basically just lets you play something for free out of your hand that has a big aura cost. And then Power Up Red is a really good card. Basically just gives you 100 life points and 100 attack forever. And if you are immortal, it takes that away. So if you put this on a Chibi Mothman or something like that, it takes its immortality away. But this card is absolutely insane. Love it. A Ding Bell. So a super souped up Ding Bell with Power Up Red is pretty gross, but you can do infinite amount of things with that. So it's pretty much like the spells. And oh, can't forget these 2 bookmarks. I mean, this is standard. This is nothing new. You should be playing this in all your decks anyways. Just free draw 2. But that's pretty much all the spells right there. And lightning in a bottle is considered a potion actually, so really cool things you can do with that. I played 2 lightning storms, and I think 10 if I know how to count lightning auras. I think that's plenty. I've seen some people play more, some people I've never seen less than 10, but some people play 11, 12, I don't know. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It just comes down to consistency. And with the other cards that I'm about to show you, hard drawing auras isn't exactly the best, especially later in the game. So I felt like 10 was plenty enough for me. And let's see. So Shock Aura, I love this card, and some people kind of ignored this card, but Shock Aura is so good, especially if you open with it. I mean, there's very few times that you're going to want to use this, I guess, right off the jump. But in a particular situation, you know, like you can pay 50 life points to have this awakened from the jump, and then it just generates an extra aura. And I know 1 aura doesn't sound like a lot, but in certain situations where you literally need that 1 more aura, this card's amazing. I absolutely love this card, and I play 2 for sure. I don't think I would cut it unless you know, moving forward it just doesn't fit the build. But as of right now, I think Shock Aura is great. Like I said, this deck moves so fast and it just helps it with consistency. It's really hard to brick with this deck, man, for real. 2 Lightning Glass and a Chaos Crystal. This is normal. This shouldn't really surprise anybody. And you notice that I'm pretty much playing all reverse hollows in my deck. They're a ton cheaper than the full hollows. I just honestly, shout out to Dominic. He kind of just like told me to hop on Lightning real quick because I was in past videos I was talking about how I was waiting for Metazoo to start really pumping out all these cards. And you know, we went to go play in Houston and he was like, oh, you should probably just play Lightning, honestly, and just help me out getting some cards. And it was really great because all the reverse hollows are so much cheaper. I don't know how much these go for, maybe a little bit more than the Quetz because it's such like an important card. But the Quetz and the Metal Man aren't too expensive. The only thing that's really expensive in this deck is the Power Up Red. That card is definitely pricey for sure. But they are definitely reprinting that here soon, and it's gonna come in a non-hollow common, I'm pretty sure. So it's gonna be like super affordable. The card's busted. Everybody should have it. It's only a 1/of in your deck, so it doesn't really make anything unfair. It just kind of equalizes the playing field a little bit. But anyways, so this is my very standard Lightning Quetzalcoatlus deck, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe. We'll have some more deck profiles coming soon. I'm getting closer and closer with the dark deck, but the closer I get to liking it, the more I want to change it, especially in like specific matchups. But hey, that's what this is all about. You should play as much as you can because that's really going to determine the cards that you're going to want to play moving forward. But anyways, good luck on all your pools, y'all, and I'll see y'all soon. Later.